What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Awesemo Fantasy Football YouTube channel on this fine Tuesday afternoon. And we are here to talk some ball. Specifically, we are going to talk about Stefon Diggs today. Before we get started, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you know when this and all other content is going live. We'll be doing all kinds of mock drafts, best ball drafts, a lot of unique content heading into the summer. And of course, today, the main agenda is going to be talking about Stefon Diggs following his historic 2020 season. Of course, moved over to the Buffalo Bills after they traded a first-round draft pick to the Minnesota Vikings to acquire him. But Stefon Diggs is now entering his 7th season in the NFL, still only 28 years old. He's 6 feet, 191 pounds. And like we mentioned, he's coming off that season, the best season of his career, where he turned 166 targets into 127 receptions, 1,535 receiving yards, and 8 scores. That included 548 yards after catch. Now, most of these were leading the NFL. Targets, receptions, yardage. Stefon Diggs was the man. However, he's been doing this throughout his entire career. Going back to his rookie season, he had 720 receiving yards, and he's only increased his receiving yards throughout his career, culminating in last year's 1,500-yard season. But even the 2 prior years, he eclipsed 1,000 yards with Buffalo, just didn't see the target volume. 2019, for example, he turned 94 targets into 1,130 yards, so widely one of the most efficient receivers in the NFL. Now, with Buffalo, we finally saw that mirrored with his opportunity. And looking at some of this opportunity, we had Diggs running around on 93.5% of the dropbacks. Target share was 29.3%, putting him in that elite category. Was actually third in the NFL. Air yard share, 34.2%, was 14th. Average depth of target, 11.5. And more specifically, the yards per route run of 2.51. This is a highly predictive metric for future success. Stefon Diggs was 6th in the NFL. So very elite production here. Also utilized around the goal line, seeing 20% of the red zone targets for Buffalo. Finally, seeing all of the opportunity we wanted when he was in Minnesota. Moving forward to this year, Buffalo is still one of the strongest offensive environments in the NFL. Of course, we have Josh Allen now entering his 4th season, but last year they passed at the 11th highest rate. They only ran the 18th most plays per game, but they were still able to live through efficiency, scoring the 3rd most points, just shy of 30 per game. This year, they have the 9th easiest strength of schedule, and they already project for a win total of 11. And looking at this offensive environment, not much is different for Diggs. They return Brian Daboll's offensive coordinator. They return every starter on the offensive line. They already ranked 11th according to Pro Football Focus on the offensive line. And they add a lot of depth. Spencer Brown, 3rd-round pick. Tommy Doyle, 5th-round pick, among others in free agency. Now, for fantasy purposes, at the top of the receiver position, we are a little bit weary of Diggs. It's just 1 year where he had the 1,500-yard production, but most of these receivers come with questions. Devontae Adams might play without Aaron Rodgers. DeAndre Hopkins is facing increased targets from Christian Kirk, AJ Green, and Rondale Moore. And then, of course, we have the Atlanta situation where Calvin Ridley's in a declining situation, but he sees more target volume probably without Julio Jones. A lot of questions. So at the top, you're basically looking at Stefon Diggs versus Tyreek Hill, unless you think another receiver ascends above these players. But Diggs remains relatively unchallenged as far as target share goes. They lose John Brown. They add Emmanuel Sanders, who's above the age of 30 and declining every single year. So Diggs really has no target competition, putting him on track to see another 29-30% target share this year. Now, Tyreek Hill is in a very fantastic situation with Patrick Mahomes, seeing elevated targets himself. He did average 11.2 down the stretch in the last 10 games for Kansas City. But he'll be battling Travis Kelce, whereas Stefon Diggs has the receiver room largely to himself outside of Sanders, Cole Beasley, or an emergence from Gabriel Davis. For that reason, in one of the past heaviest and most efficient offenses in the NFL, Stefon Diggs is wide receiver 1 on my board. No qualms if he's behind Tyreek Hill as wide receiver 2, but we're talking about a top 10 pick in fantasy leagues here, and somebody who even should rival maybe top 8, top 6 status, depending on where you have the running backs. Stefon Diggs, confident pick in fantasy this year. Don't miss out on the late 1st round. Of course, make sure to check out the channel for more videos coming up soon. Like the channel, subscribe. We'll be back with more content coming soon. And I, of course, am Matt Gajewski on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. We'll catch you again next time.